Welcome back to She Can, where women lead by example with their stories, insights, and experiences, because it's easier to be what you can see. And I'm really excited to talk to Yasmine McDougall Steria today. Welcome to She Can, Yasmine. You're the founder and CEO of Free, which is an award-winning global female empowerment ecosystem. You're also a speaker, a writer, and a consciousness leader and educator. So you set up freeworld.org so people can find it, where you are creating measurable social impact for girls and women through executive workshops, virtual coaching programs, group experiences, custom corporate sessions, and a foundation program. Your partnerships with global brands and institutions have generated over £70 million in verified social impact, demonstrating how personal transformation drives organizational change. You also have millions of people engaged and 80 partners and brands on board. Tell us more about this incredible achievement and how you got to where you are today.
Well, Stephanie, thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here sharing a little bit of my story and Free story. Free really started as a mission. Free is a mission, I would say. I used to work at Vogue. I worked at Vogue for 11 years before founding Free. So at the time when I got pregnant of my daughter, I was 28. And I started, just thinking of how I could make a different world for her, a world where she could be free. I had lost my mother 7 years before to suicide, so it was a quite traumatic experience that I didn't want myself or any other people that I knew to go through that, even if you're looking from afar. My mother was one of the most beautiful women in Rio. She's English, but we used to live in Rio, and still she was going through things that we had no idea, and that most women would say, or even society would say, that was, mental health issues, or that, she was crazy and things like that. And the more I decided to study all of this while I was pregnant to heal myself before my daughter came, I realized that we could share so much with the world, and that we could really transform so many people's lives by sharing this new consciousness with women primarily, but also with men, with everyone, with humanity, so that we can really free within, and then we free the world.
Yasmine, first of all, sacred pause, because that's a terrible thing to happen to you, to anyone who's listening, who might have had a similar experience. Yasmine, tell us a little bit more how you got from working at Vogue, which is glamorous and wonderful, but something very different, to creating Free. And tell us more about Free. What are all the things that you're doing to bring this mission that you have to life?
So Free started in this moment that this awakening. I was going through a very deep spiritual awakening. So I was really trying to put together a methodology that could help people awaken somehow, but also with bringing the element of art and fashion and creativity, and how that can really shift our perspective. So Free starts with the methodology, and that's how we feed the three entities that we have. So we have an enterprise that works with B2B, and B2B projects with Fortune 500 companies. And what we do in 3 steps primarily is generating consciousness, so building and opening consciousness so that people can really access different perspectives, creative perspectives of the world. Instead of thinking of things in a linear way, we think of things in a multi-dimensional way, in a creative way, and with, it's more feminine way, even for men, of course, because that is within everyone in the world. And then once that happens, then we have the second step that is creating new ideas based on this kind of opening up, this consciousness, this other layer, this third eye, this we like to call it the eagle's eye perspective. And then the third step is really taking action. So instead of just thinking of ideas and keeping that inside of us and being afraid of doing things, we do take action. So with our big companies that we work with, like Unilever or PepsiCo or United Airlines, all of these companies that we work with, we basically start with the project, with the idea element, the action, and then we bring in the consciousness element just because that's how it's done. When we work with the foundation, we start with the consciousness level because we're working with women that experience a lot of violence or a lot of, cultural constraints in general, trauma in general. So the first step is really regaining that self-esteem, understanding who they truly are beyond the trauma so that they can have ideas and that they can become leaders of their own communities and of their lives. So again, the three-step process. And last year we launched the membership. So it's our, the first time we're giving access to people to join free as a member and be part of the movement directly so people can apply. It's a very intimate community because we really value commitment and people that are really purpose oriented, but they have access to the same things. They learn the methodology with weekly sessions. The methodologies always starts with a meditation so people can really go within. And then we explore different things that are happening in the world so people can understand even chaotic moments like the war or, even the fires in LA through a different perspective so that we're not so reactive in fear, but we can see ourselves through a different layer and we can create solutions through a more conscious way. So basically what we're doing at Free is that we feel that we are all leaders and we're just stepping up to this in a more conscious way. For the members, we also do a lot of experiences. We have a lot of artists participating. So I mean, Free is this ecosystem, and it's a very live ecosystem that we take everywhere from Davos. This year we will be at COP. We have partnerships with Harvard African Center that we have a free club with Harvard students. So we're really engaging all of society in different layers to bring this new paradigm of consciousness so that we can create what we call a free world.
Yasmin, it's what an amazing thing you set up. I'm trying to get sort of to the details. So you have the free world clubs in different places, such as Harvard around the world. You have the social enterprise where you find solutions and you deploy them. And then you have your foundation where you support girls and women who really need this transformative
Yeah.
work that's coaching and raising consciousness and breaking down repressed experiences or emotions to break free and to be free. And then from that, you have new ideas being born that are then put into reality.
Yeah.
How does it work? You make money by coaching and partnering with companies,
Yeah.
right? So
So
how
we
do you how
we
do
have
you
three business models basically. We have one that is the B2B that we do
yeah.
services for companies. We create the projects with them, we co-brand with them. We share our authority with companies in a long-term basis. So most of our partnerships they've been around for years.
Mm,
And we really build a whole ecosystem with these companies. And this is one of our business models. The second one is our membership. So the membership is a paid membership, right?
yeah.
So women can join, men are welcome as well, and it's a paid membership. And then the foundation, we also, until now, the foundation was funded by our enterprise, our social enterprise. And last year we did our first fundraiser and to fund directly to the foundation. And that's how, from now on, we're going to be funding the foundation as well.
Yasmin, so tell us about your main lessons. What are your main takeaways after doing this for a while very successfully? You've engaged an enormous amount of women and girls.
Well, my main takeaway, is that the question?
Yeah.
Um, my main takeaway is that one size doesn't fit all. Um, in a world that is changing so much, everyone can be free, and it's not, we have this stigma that trauma sometimes is only happening in vulnerable communities, or that, we have all these limitations. Women still have all these limitations. And, we're going through a political crisis around the world right now where a lot of what women have achieved is being questioned, really, and this is all, I would say this is all noise. And that we need to really step, beyond that and really use our tools, bridging our mind, our hearts, our body and spirit, so that we don't allow this noise to interfere with our own freedom. So freedom is not a lack of responsibility, quite the contrary, right? Freedom is really stepping up and being autonomous in your own way, not overly independent as well. Um, we need a balance test. We really need community, interdependence and not full dependence or full independence. We need people that are part of this beautiful ecosystem in our lives, personally, business. Everything is really connected at the end of the day, but it all begins with us going beyond this noise that, we're constantly being fed. And any woman, all women I've met from completely different backgrounds, from all these different locations at Free has been impacting. Everyone can make this shift. It all starts by making the decision of making this shift. And this is, for me, the most powerful thing. I've seen women with all possibilities, in the sense of having prosperous, abundant families, but they still don't feel they're capable. And then we've seen women in very, very, hard positions. They've been through the worst traumas we can imagine, and they still can do it. And, all women can do it. And that's the thing that unites all of us. And one thing that I think is very important for anyone in this freedom journey is humbleness, because we're all humans, and this element of humbleness is so important if we really want to make change in the world. And I would just add one more thing, is that this comes with this desire of contributing. So in a world right now that is so transactional, and that, people are just doing even wellness, I'm just doing it for myself because I want to get better and da da da, but that is not sustainable. If you don't think of others, if you don't understand this unity and this oneness and this element of contributing beyond receiving, in the sense of like, oh, I'm just doing this if I get that, that transactional linear approach, that is not fulfilling. And that's why we're seeing this mental health crisis around the world. People are feeling lonely, unfulfilled,
Mhm.
going into relationships just because they don't have anything else to do. And once you start contributing more in an authentic way, and that's also so healing. And I'm talking about leaders, I'm talking about, anyone really. We're all connected. And I think that's the biggest, um, yeah, the biggest learning I've been having throughout the years.
Beautiful, Yasmin. Gosh, there were so many beautiful mic drop moments. Um, I'm wondering, Yasmin, how are you leading with your story for your organization and for the change that you are bringing about and want to see in the world?
I'm always leading with my heart. That's the only way I know how to lead. I'm not a person that overplans. I don't feel that nowadays we can overplan. Every time I overplan, I get stuck because things are changing so much. So I really trust my intuition. I have a long-term vision that changes even, but I do have a long-term vision that is the mission. And the way we get there changes and it flows because opportunities show up and I really admire and I really try to bring in people in my team that are flexible in that sense and that they can be quick, problem solvers in that sense, that they're always thinking of solutions and how can we do better. But that really comes with a lot of confidence, right? So if we don't have a very clear plan, which is the case with Free Free, we have a vision, but things change and come up, and we are always responding as well to what's happening in the world and what we feel is right at the moment. I do lead with a lot of presence, so every moment requires um, a different talent, I would say.
Mm.
And that's how I lead. It's not linear. I don't lead in a linear way, I guess.
Yeah, it gets a more circular
Or
thing.
circular. And collaborative, we collaborate a lot. Our
Yeah.
members are people that are they're multiplying free around the world. I like to make the reference that it's almost like a spider web, and that
Mm.
the mother that birthed or the mama spider that birthed free. And now I'm very excited to have all these amazing women just joining free with the mission, with the same mission of just using their talents or their life stories to really take this to their own lives, to their communities, or to their countries. And that's how I see free growing. It's a collaboration.
Yeah, beautiful. Yasmin, so given the times we live in, and they have changed dramatically in the last couple of months, and our freedom as girls and women is literally not a given anymore. And there is a huge backlash. I'm wondering how you would give tips to every one of us, how we can all accelerate our action to accelerate change.
I think we need to, of course, advocate for things we believe in. But I do really feel that sometimes when we are outsourcing our freedom sometimes too much in the sense of like, well, we are not free because we're depending on this or we depending on that action from a politician or, of it's really challenging because you do get stuck in that sort of relation. So I would say that my own freedom, and I can say from my own experience and the experience I've seen all these women really take that jump, is when they realize that that freedom starts within us. So even in times of chaos and times that, we don't know what's happening tomorrow, everything can change in a minute. For me, the LA fires was such a big deal because, so many people that I know were affected by it from, in a completely unexpected way. And this is how I feel we're living in a moment that we really can't plan, right? And we really can't just, wait for something to happen as well. So that's the biggest present anyone can give themselves right now is to go within and really, really open up their consciousness so that they can access freedom in any situation. Because it's really a shift in perspective. So in any situation, we always have more than one perspectives that we can look into. We can see it as a tragedy, and I'm not saying it's not, but we can see it as, okay, this is happening for a reason. There's a learning here. How can I take the best of this situation? How can I learn from this situation? How can I contribute? There's so many layers to it, and I'm not talking about the elephants, I'm just talking about any situation right now. So I think if we're always thinking of how we can contribute, and then we're also thinking on how we're always keeping our consciousness or growing our consciousness we will always find solutions that are creative. So instead of us focusing on the fear of what's happening in the world right now and focusing on they're taking control, this is happening, da da da, we get stuck and we feel very scared. And when we feel scared, we make decisions that aren't for our best. And that's what keeps us on what I like to call a golden cage. So we're scared, we stay in a golden cage mentally, but then we also put ourselves in like, oh, maybe if I start this relationship, I'll feel more protected. Or if I take this job, it's going to make me more secure. Or we start making decisions because we're scared. And that's actually what makes the golden cage. And then we're feeling unhappy, or we're put in a situation that it's even less protected, because protection doesn't come from anything external. Right. We have this idea, and of course it's a cultural thing of, especially for women, we still have this idea that we need other people to protect us. But the biggest protection that we have is knowing our own power and
Yeah.
not giving our power away to institutions in general. So growing that consciousness, growing that feminine consciousness, connecting with nature right now is so important. Using your creativity, you don't depend on anyone for to use your creativity. You can create projects, you can do things, you can act on things, and that's very empowering if you bring it back to you instead of outsourcing that element to anyone, to governments, to partners, to families, to whatever. That's your own thing. And that's what Free is really all about. It's really empowering women to remember this power that we have. We just
Love,
forgot.
I love that you said remember, because we all have it. It's a birthright.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yasmin, so what are you most proud of?
Ah, I'm proud of everything. I'm so proud that we're here. I mean, this all started as a project, as a dream. And I'm so proud of seeing so many women shift. I'm so proud of myself to having the courage of doing all of this, because it wasn't easy, it took a lot of courage. And
Mm.
I'm also so proud of seeing my daughter growing up in a free way, and I think she's my biggest teacher. And this is how I feel all girls and women can be. And I'm just happy that I can give her this opportunity to grow up in a way that she knows this power, and that I'm hopefully making sure she doesn't forget it.
Yeah. So, Yasmin, tell us a little bit about your plans for 2025 and beyond. Are you expanding? What are your plans and your goals for the next years?
So we have a plan of having a free house in the UK. So we will have a space where all, workshops and creative ideas and exhibitions and everything can come to life, probably 2026, but we never know. We have also the plan of expanding the club, because until now we've just open the club for close people that are closer to me or to us, to free the team. So we're going to make it available for more people to join, still with limited spaces, because we want to keep it intimate with people that are really committed to it, but opening up to more people. We are expanding. We already have operations in the US, but we will be definitely expanding more of that in the US. We're launching this very exciting project that is the free mobile empowerment spaces, that basically they're combis. Combis are these very traditional cars from Brazil. It looks like a van, but it's
Mm.
very vintage feeling, like very hippie somehow. And instead of us bringing women always to our space, like we've always, we do that a lot. We also go to, we have partnerships with Department of Justice and Security and all of that. But to communities, and that's the foundation project. We will take through this kind of empowerment mobile space, we'll go into the communities, taking our methodology so that we can impact more people. And I have this vision. I'm not saying it will happen or not, but I would love to have lots of this around the world, lots of little empowerment spaces that we can go and share this beautiful methodology, consciousness with more and more people so that people can wake up and remember their beautiful and amazing power. What else? We're also planning and having a free conference soon. Not sure in terms of timelines yet, so that we can really bring leaders from around the world to a space that we can co-create projects together that will be funded by free. So there's a lot coming. I'm always overexcited to do all these different things. But yeah.
Yasmine, what would you like our listeners to take away from your story today?
I think what I would like the listeners to take away is that independently of whatever you've been through in your life, you have this power within you to do anything you allow your minds and hearts to imagine. So I always say that no dream is too big or too small. If we have the possibility of imagining it, we can also bring it to reality. So whatever the circumstances that you're in or things that you went through, you have the freedom to make it happen if you allow yourself to open your consciousness and dream big.
Yasmine, if you could write a postcard to every person in the world with one sentence, what would be on this postcard?
It would be, that's a hard one. I would say I would write free within, free the world. That's what I think I would write. So free yourself within, and you have the power to free the world.
I love it. Yasmine, thank you so much for your story, this conversation, for creating a space where people can transform themselves for the greater good and raise the consciousness across the world, and for holding such a big dream and vision and advancing it year by year.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. It was great being here with you and everyone who's listening to us. Thank you for having me.